Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today, prior to kicking off our Orlando 2021 videos, I thought I would give a very quick run through of the current testing requirements to get entry into the USA, and also then the requirements in terms of COVID testing to then come back to the UK, as obviously it's an ever-changing process. We had to do it for our trip in December, and you still have to do variations of some of the different tests and stuff now, even in January. Obviously it's changing all the time, but this is currently the requirements to test and gain access to the USA and UK when you come back, as it stands on the 12th of January 2022. So in this video, I'm going to give you a very quick run through on what the current requirements are in terms of testing, and also then what we had to go through for our recent trip in December, how easy it was, any issues we faced, pricing, etc, etc. So, to begin with, the current requirements to gain access to the USA in terms of COVID requirements are that you need to be fully vaccinated if you are over the age of 18, and fully vaccinated at the minute, as of the 12th of January 2022, is 2 doses of a vaccine approved by obviously the various health organisations in the world. So right now, if you are over 18, you need to be fully vaccinated, which is 2 doses of the vaccine that you have had. The other requirement to go into the USA is that everyone aged 2+ needs to do a pre-departure COVID test. Usually this is an LFT test, and it has to be done 1 day before your departure to the USA. Now the one that we did was an LFT test, and that's the most common one at the minute that's going around, but you have to do this within 1 day of going to the USA. I'll explain in a little bit the one that we did and how that worked, but it has to be an observed test, so it has to be one that is actually watched by a qualified individual, rather than you taking it home and submitting on an app or website or anything like that. The other thing you have to do then when you go to the USA is you have to fill out what is called an Assistation form, which is basically like a form that declares that you have had your vaccines, you're safe to travel, and gives out different kind of details and stuff about testing, information and kind of locations and stuff like that. This form has to be filled out prior to when you go, and you fill it out with all your different details, and you keep that on your phone. It's sent off and stuff as well, and then obviously you can refer back to that later if required, if you do get a positive result while out there. But it has to be done prior to you going to the USA. The way we did that, and again I'll touch on this in a little bit, is through the Verifly app, which is what British Airways are using in the UK here, as their kind of COVID travel app, if you like. So the other thing, when you get to America, if you are unvaccinated, you have to do a LFT test around kind of day 3 to 5 after arriving. Now this test does not have to be submitted to any app, you don't have to declare it to anyone, but when you fill out your attestation form, you are acknowledging that you are going to have an LFT test between day 3 and 5 if you are unvaccinated. So, as I mentioned, you have to do this test. You, for example, do the test, you then scan it onto your app, whatever it may be, and then you download your certificate for it. Now, you don't have to send the certificate off anywhere, you don't have to declare it, but you have to keep it on you in the event that you are asked for it later on. And as you have filled out this form and that you've acknowledged that you are going to do it, it has to be done, as you have to make sure that obviously you meet the requirements should you are asked. Now, the best way of doing this would either be to take a test with you, or you can find a local test through the CDC website. You can pick them up at places like Walgreens, Walmart, etc, etc, and obviously do a test while you're out there, get the certificate, then you haven't got to worry about it. Now, coming back to the UK, things have changed a little bit since a couple of weeks ago. So we are now on the 12th of January 2022, as I have mentioned, and currently you do not now need to do a test prior to returning to the UK. So before, you had to do this 2 days before LFT test to prove that you were good before coming on the aircraft back to the UK. They've scrapped that now, and that's not the case. So currently, when you come back to the UK, you now have to do a day 2 test after you arrive, but it can be a PCR, but equally it doesn't have to be now, and it can be an LFT. So they've brought back the old LFT test. So on day 2 after you arrive, you need to either do a LFT or a PCR, but some kind of form of obviously verifying that you're fit and healthy. Obviously, if you start getting symptoms or anything like that, you'd be doing these anyway, and obviously isolating, but this now is the new requirement. So just to give a brief summary, prior going to the US, you need to do your pre-departure 1 day before traveling. You then have to do your day 3 to 5 if you're unvaccinated while you're out there. and then you have to do your day 2 upon arrival back into the UK. So it's 3 tests potentially, depending on if you're unvaccinated, travelling with kids, for example. But let's say you're fully vaccinated and you're a couple, it'd be the test prior to going to the USA and the test on day 2 when you come back to the UK. So what I wanted to do now is give a very quick run through of the process that we went through in terms of testing back in December. So we went away just before Christmas on December 19th, over Christmas, and we came back just before New Year on the 29th of January. So back then the testing requirements were a little bit different, but the majority of them have stayed the same. So I'm going to run through how we did it, what the process was like, and how we found it overall. So prior to going to the USA, we had to do the 24-hour or 1-day test before as an LFT. What we did, an observed LFT. So we did this test here at the house, at home, and the way we did it is we booked it through a company called Prereturn. They send the LFTs direct to your door. You then had to book what's called a video consultation. So for the LFT test to gain entry to the USA, you have to do an observed LFT test. And what that means is that someone is actually watching you carry out the test. It's just another way of making sure that you're doing it correctly and that you get an accurate result. So we booked this video consultation for the Saturday as we were flying out on the Sunday. It has to be done the day before. So for example, if your flight is at 1 PM on a Sunday, you can do your test any time on the Saturday. It's the day before. We booked this video consultation. We got all the test kits ready, laid out on the table. When we answer the video call, it's basically like a Skype chat, and you have a registered nurse there that will check your details, make sure you're all correct. In our case, there was 4 of us to do the test, so she took all of our appointments. We then went through, I sat in front of the camera, for example, we were chatting away, checking the details. She then asked me to open up the swab, open up the test kit, etc, etc. Go through it in the normal process, make sure that I was doing it correctly, make sure that I did the correct number of drops. And then in our case, you had to start a timer for 15 minutes. When that's done, you can then upload your result onto their website, and then you get the certificate generated. We did that for all 4 of us, and once that was complete, that was it in terms of kind of the video call. She said thank you, departed, and we uploaded all the tests and were done in that aspect. You now have to wait until someone has checked all those online, and then you get sent a certificate. Once we had received that certificate, great, we've got our negative results, we're good to travel essentially to the USA. But first we then needed to do the process on the Verifly app for British Airways before we could actually check in. So the Verifly app is something that British Airways is using at the minute, and I know other airlines are doing fairly similar things, so it depends on who you're travelling with, but I'll explain the process for British Airways anyway. You download the Verifly app and you set it up with your flight details and also with all the people you're travelling with. We then uploaded the vaccination records, for example, for me and Kate. We then also uploaded our negative test result, and then you fill out your attestation form as well. So you fill out the different paperwork, and then someone checks that over and then gives you the green light. And what that means is that you're all good, you're fit to travel in terms of COVID requirements. You then obviously can check in and you go to the airport as normal. So everything's kind of kept electronic. We did print out our certificates just in case someone wanted to see a hard copy or technology fails, anything like that, you know, your phone dies. But you can keep it all on the app and it's there, it shows that you're all good to go. So that was it in terms of pre-departure stuff. Now those costs came from a company, those tests came from a company called Cured, and they were £116 for the 4 of us, including video consultation. So £120 basically for 4 of us, that's 2 adults, 2 children, to have the pre-departure to the USA test. Really simple, quick and easy process. The video consultation was kind of nice and relaxed really. They're very friendly, they take you through it at a good pace. Uploading the kind of results and stuff is always a little bit stressful because you've got to do it within a certain time frame, and if you don't, the test result could become invalid. But it works out nice and, you know, quick and easy, and then you slowly start to get all through all the emails through about the, you know, it's all good, it's been checked and stuff shortly after. So very impressed with Cured. It's a reasonable price compared to the others, and I'll leave a link down below to where we found all these prices and stuff as well. It's a really useful link that, on the BA website, for example, that tells you testing options and prices. So I'll leave that down below for you if you are interested. But no, that process was fairly easy. Then when we got to the airport, showed them the Verifly app, they could see that we were all good, usual check-in, boarding cards and stuff, and then off we went. So now obviously we've done all the pre-departure stuff. We've then flown over to the USA. When they got there at the other end, it's just normal passport control. We didn't get asked for any COVID certificates or anything like that. It was just business as normal, and it took us about 20 minutes to get through passport control and then get our bag. So yeah, really good and quick and easy process. And that then leads us to the next stage, which is the 3 to 5 day test for the unvaccinated travellers. So the next stage then is the test that Oliver and William had to do while we were out there. Now this is a requirement by the CDC currently. They want you to test between day 3 and 5 when you land in the USA. So this is for the unvaccinated people. So this is obviously Oliver and William in our case. And what we did is you have to take a LFT test basically of some description. Now we bought ours from Cured, the same company we did the pre-departure and also prior to the UK return test with. We bought 2 extra ones, took them out with us, and then we did the test when we were in the hotel one night. Now these test results you do yourself. You don't have to do them observed with a nurse or anyone. You just do them in your hotel room as you would a home LFT, and then you scan that onto the website and get your negative test result. You don't have to submit that anywhere, you don't have to show that or anything like that. You just keep it on there in case someone does ask. When you filled out your attestation form, you're acknowledging that you are going to do one of these tests. So it is technically a requirement, you've acknowledged that you're going to do it. So we did that nice and simply. Yes, it's a little bit of an additional cost, but we did that, scanned the results onto the website, got the certificates, and then if someone did ask, we can say that we've got negative results for both of the boys being unvaccinated on day 3 to 5. So I think we did it on day 4, smack bang in the middle, nice and easy, didn't take long at all, and that was the second kind of lot of testing, if you like, while we were out in America. Now, the other thing we did, you don't have to do this is not an official requirement by any means, shape or form, and you cannot use these as a means of official testing or proving that you're negative or anything like that, but we took a box of the NHS ones that you get here in the UK out with us, and that was just so that we could test while we were out there periodically, just to make sure we were okay, you know, we were all fine. So we didn't have any symptoms, we managed to, have a really good safe holiday, but it's always just handy while you can get them in the UK, and we had a spare box to take it with you, and then you can use that if you have got any doubts prior to getting one. The other thing you can do in terms of getting an LFT out in America is keep an eye on the CDC website for where you can find locations of tests that are available while you are out in the States. So we, prior to going, had the ones from Cured that we thought we'd take with us to do the test while out there, and we also went onto the CDC website and found a couple of locations near our hotel. I think it was a Walgreens on iDrive, where you could get tests as well should you need them. So we had backups as well. That way, if the Cured test didn't make it in the suitcase, or there was an issue or a problem, whatever it may be, we know where to get a test, so we can meet that requirement. It's listed on the attestation form. So the next stage of testing that we had to do for our particular holiday, but it is now not the case, was the prior to returning to the UK test. So this was the test where the government obviously wanted you to do a test 2 days before coming back to the UK to prove that you are negative. You now don't have to do that. The UK government have scrapped this test, but I will take you through the process of that one anyway, just to kind of give our experiences of it. And that again was a simple test in the hotel room. We took out the Cured test that we bought. You can buy them with your pre-departure to the USA test. Again, they come straight to your door. We packed them in the suitcases. We all did one of those in the hotel room. Again, you get your result, you scan it onto the website, someone checks it, you then get your negative certificate, and then we re-uploaded that onto the Verify app for the return journey to the UK. Once that all gets approved and stuff, and you do your passenger locator form, which you have to fill out, you then obviously are fit for travel, and you can then start making your way to the airport and then coming home. So that's now been scrapped. It was a really easy, straightforward process anyway. Yes, again, it's additional cost, but it's what the UK government required at the time. If they do bring it back again in the future, obviously this could change, it's changing all the time, then again, in that particular instance, we bought the test from Cured, and then obviously we could take those out to America with us to do 2 days prior to coming back to the UK. I think from memory it was about £66 for those tests. So not too bad, but it was approved and it was all good. So that was the kind of the first part of coming back to the UK. So the test requirements now have changed a little bit. All you have to do now is the passenger locator form prior to coming back to the UK. You fill out that form, it says, well, obviously where you've been, you know, if you've got any symptoms, this, that, etc, etc. You fill that out, you fly back to the UK, and now the requirement is that you have to do the day 2 test, PCR or lateral flow, but the lateral flow is now accepted. It used to be, and when we went it was the PCR, as I'll explain in just a minute, but it is now a lateral flow that can be accepted as well. So when we went for our holiday, we flew back to the UK, and we already had waiting for us here day 2 PCRs from a company called Randox. So we didn't go with Cured this time, we went with a company called Randox, which were also on British Airways website, and I'll leave the link for them down below in the description as well. So these tests here were £129 for the day 2 PCR. They're already here. We waited until day 2. We did the test as you usually do. You put the swabs and stuff in the bag, put that in the box, seal the box up and stuff, and then what you have to do is you drive to a drop-off location. And what I've got is a little video which I'll put in just a second, and what that shows is where the drop-up box is for us, and it looks like a post box. You put your test in there, it gets collected, and a day or two later we got the result. So this here is a services just outside of Maidstone. As you can see here on the right hand side, you've got 2 little boxes, and they are for the Randox sample box. So I'm going to go over there now and place the test kit boxes that I have down here in the car that you can't see into those boxes over there now. So then you put your test then into this little post box, it gets sent away, tested, and then you get your results in an email a couple of days later. So it's a nice, easy, straightforward process. Really wasn't too much hassle at all. Again, £129 it costs for those day 2 PCRs. So all in all, we spent about £300 in testing. So now that the requirements have changed, that will be a little less, depending on obviously your family size. But for the 4 of us, you know, depending on who needed to test and what have you, it was about £300. So right now, as I've said, the testing requirements as of the 12th of January 2022 are that you can do a day 2 PCR or lateral flow upon your return. The reason why they brought the lateral flow back in is because obviously the PCRs are becoming less available right now, so it is acceptable now to do a day 2 LFT as well. And then obviously if you get symptoms, you isolate as normal, and so on and so forth. So that's the process that it is now. It has obviously changed slightly from when we went in December, and it's always changing. Right now this video is going to go out on the 12th, but obviously come tomorrow it could be completely different. So if you are watching this for some additional guidance or advice, you know, please do keep in mind that this is always changing, and to check the government website down below for the UK, or obviously the CDC and stuff for the USA requirements, as it is always changing. But right now, again, to give you a very quick summary, you have to do the pre-departure within 1 day of going to the USA. You have to fill out your attestation form as well to go to the US. You then do your passenger locator form prior to coming back to the UK, and then your day 2 PCR or LFT. Those are the current requirements for testing. Overall, yes, it does add a little bit more stress to your holiday, particularly prior to the US, where there's that kind of wait to find out if you're positive or negative, because even if you haven't got symptoms and you feel fine, you never know. But there is that kind of added stress and worry, and obviously the added cost, but overall, you know, it really was worth it. And yeah, we're glad we did it. It was an additional stress, but we're glad we did it. And you know, when you're out there and you've got to do the tests and stuff out there, it's really not too bad. When you come back home, they're all waiting for you. So we had a very good experience overall. So that there then is going to conclude it for this video. I just wanted to give you a very quick rundown of all the different kind of testing and stuff that we had to do for our trip back in December, and also give you an idea as to what the testing is right now as of January. I hope this has helped. If you have any particular questions about the companies we use, the process we went through, anything like that, then please leave a comment down below in the video and I'll get back to you as soon as we can. The company we used and stuff are all going to be down below in the description as well. Like I said, we used Cured and Randox for our test. Really reliable, very good service, and overall I think some of the better prices compared to some of the others. So yeah, highly recommend them. But as I mentioned, if you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. That's going to be all for this video then. If you're new to this channel, please leave a like down below on the video, click that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Many thanks for watching.